Hello, so glad to see you today. I've just been leafing through cookbooks. It seems to be one of my favorite pastimes, just looking for some new and delicious recipes to share with you and to share with my family. And today I have a very special guest. And I have to say to the whole crew, everybody up in the control room, everybody, let's shape up because the boss's wife is here. Now, for those of you that don't know, maybe out in the Chicago area or the Kansas City area, we're glad that you're part of our program too. But the boss's wife is Norma Bixler, wife of Russ Bixler, who is our founder and president. And I want to tell you, she has some of the best tasting goodies that she's making for us today. So get your papers and pencils ready. And we're going to come right back in just a couple of minutes, right after the special hint, to start the festivities with Norma Bixler. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Here's today's at-home hint. Submerging a lemon in hot water for 15 minutes before squeezing will yield almost twice the amount of juice.
If you have an at-home hint, a favorite recipe, or just a friendly greeting you'd like to share, we'd like to hear from you. Post it in the comments of this video or visit our Facebook page.
As I promised, here's Norma Bixler. Norma, I am so glad that you're here in the kitchen with me today.
Well, we've been planning this for a long time.
I know, and every time that we thought it was going to work out, something happened. You and Russell were going out of town or traveling somewhere, so we're glad that you're here today. And I know that the folks out there are really going to enjoy your recipe.
Well, I'm only here because you tasted a recipe at my house, remember?
How many people were at that dinner that night?
Either 26 or 28, I'm not sure.
In your house, and you did it all yourself. You had no help, as I can recall.
Well, I think you contributed a dish.
Oh, but not what you're making today, because today Norma's making her famous, I call it her famous, turkey casserole. And you make it with leftover turkey, right? And then what's the dessert that you're making? What's this called?
It's called deep dish apple pudding.
Deep dish apple pudding. And we thought we would get started with that first because that takes a little longer for the apples to cook up. Okay, take it away. I'm here to assist you, my dear. My kitchen is your kitchen.
Well, first I'd like to tell you that I grew up in Virginia, and in Virginia there are lots and lots of apples, and we had lots of apples at our home because my grandfather had apple orchards. So we had apples all kinds of ways. We had apple sauce, we had fried apples, we had apple pies, but Norma likes this recipe because it's so simple and so quick. I had 4 children. We had 4 children in our family, and they ate up dessert so fast. And this was quick and easy, and I usually had apples in my house.
Sure, and there's so many ways you can prepare apples and things you can do with them.
So this is one of my favorites, and one of our son Paul's favorites. Oh, and Harold and John, they all like this, so that encouraged Mother to do it. Sure. Well, first I have apples here that I've sliced up just like you would slice them if you were making a pie.
How many apples is that, Norma?
Well, this is about 10 apples.
About 10, okay.
It depends, you know, on the size of apples.
Right.
If they're small, it'd be 12. And today I'm doubling my recipe because I thought if the aroma gets through the studio, there might be more than 4 people that would like to eat this.
Yeah, I have a feeling. That's usually what happens here, you know.
Well, I know. I've smelled a lot of good things up in my office when you've been cooking here at home. So this is a half a cup of sugar if it were just one recipe, but I have. And then this is one of those recipes that you just put cinnamon in. I can't tell you how much, but what I do, and I'm just
mixing them around
at home here.
That's right.
And what I do is I just I measure the sugar, and I put
the apples, kind of.
Yeah, I measure the apples, and then what I do is I stir it
around
really, really well. And then I taste an apple to see if I think it has enough cinnamon.
Yeah, because, you know, apples do have a different degree of sweetness at different kinds of apples. And I think those are Granny Smiths, aren't they?
They are.
That's
and I like to use tart apples because I like tart apples. But sometimes, Arlene, they're not in season.
That's right.
And so, you know, you could cut down on the sugar. You can just do whatever suits you. It's not going to affect the recipe anyway. It's all going to be good, whatever you do. Now, I'm going to taste this.
What do you think?
I think I'll add a little more.
A little more cinnamon, huh? See, I like the flavor of cinnamon, too.
And you know what? If it's cold and a member of your family comes in, if your husband comes in from work or if your kids come home from school and they smell this, they feel really at home.
Yeah. They get a treat in store, don't they?
That's right. Mm-hmm. I really think that cinnamon is one of the best things we have to put in our food.
You know what I like too? When you coat them like that, the juice from the apple makes the sugar clings to it, and they get evenly coated, and there's no sugar should be laying in the bottom of the bowl either. Okay.
Now I think that's going to be okay.
That's going to be good.
Now, that's one part.
Okay.
Next part is, if you were making, let me see, if you were making pie, you know, you'd have to, you know what all you have to do to make a pie. So this, they're just going to make crumbs.
What do you have in there?
And I have put some butter in here. And, you know, some people like to use margarine. If they want to use margarine, that's fine, but I like butter.
How much butter is there?
It's 1 stick of butter.
For 6 apples?
Yeah.
Right, okay. It's almost melted.
It's almost melted.
Yeah. Norma, do you remember your mom making this a lot?
She didn't make it.
Oh, this isn't one of hers.
No, when Russell and I got married, the minister who had our wedding, he and his wife gave me a cookbook. And I'll tell you, it didn't cost a lot of money, but for somebody that didn't know how to cook, it was, because it's a real,
do you want your flour here?
I think what I better do is I better butter this first.
Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, you could do that.
And then you can make your topping, okay?
It was a lot of homey recipes, you know what I mean? It was just like super homey.
Sure.
And
now, Norma, I can do this as neat as you do, but I'm trying. The lights makes the butter melt.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you, but I didn't know if we had to tell everything.
Put this up around the edge too?
Yeah, it's no big problem. I mean, just...
So you don't have to butter or grease like you would for a cake, do you?
No, it's, you know, this recipe is just a recipe that always turns out. You can't do anything wrong. It just, everything works out great.
Tell you, they must be working outside today. There's such noise, you know?
Well, you know, in the spring there's construction.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you've added the butter to the flour.
Yes, and these are going to be crumbs. And it's butter, and it's brown sugar.
Okay.
And
flour, huh?
It gets a little, you know.
Yeah, I'll say it does.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Now, I've had times when I've made crumb topping, but I always cut the butter into the flour or the brown sugar. I never melted it like that.
Well, see, this is an old-fashioned recipe.
Sure it is.
This recipe is probably close to 100 years old. And this was a farm lady, I think, that did this. I have her name. Her name is in the cookbook, and I've always wanted to meet her, but I think she's gone to be with the Lord a long time ago. Okay, so we're going to just put the apples in here.
Okay, can I help? Oh, this makes a nice big casserole, doesn't it? Get them all, right?
Right.
Okay. Just here, you smooth them out. There's nothing that smells better, like you said, than apples baking, too. I can remember many times when my dad would get on a roll with, he wanted apple pie. And my mom would make apple pie every couple days. We had to have an apple pie.
Well, see, I didn't like making apple pies.
That's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is. And this, well, you can see, I don't know how many minutes. You know, television, everything's timed by minutes. But, you know, the biggest thing you have to do in this is peel the apples.
That's what takes the time, sure.
So
you just
drop it all around.
Like that. That's good. It smells wonderful.
Do you think it does?
Oh, are you kidding? You wouldn't have to bake it. It would taste good. I bet your boys made a quick job of this when you baked this at home, didn't they?
They did, and it didn't seem to me like it took as much time to make pies, but my mother said, if you're used to making pies, you can make them fast, but I don't know. I always thought this was simpler. And, and I got a lot of compliments over the years. You know, I used to take this sometimes to church dinners. We had a lot of covered dish dinners at the church where Russell was pastor.
Okay.
So, I guess.
That's it. Shall we put it in the oven?
Yep. And
while I'm doing that, maybe you'll go ahead and get started with the turkey casserole. Now, how long do you let this bake, Norma?
Until the apples get done.
Until the apple, and you check that with a fork, or?
Yeah, I usually do that.
Okay. All right, so that's in there.
Do you love watching At Home with Arlene Williams? Then be sure to check out our new YouTube channel. It's filled with classic episodes from over 20 years of At Home, and more videos are added each day. And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
Now, I'm going to get started with her famous turkey casserole.
Well, Arlene, you know, when you came to my house and you tasted it, it was turkey, but you can use it for chicken. You know, some people like chicken better than they like turkey. So
Sure.
you could use it really for either one.
Okay. And you're melting some butter. Yeah, we can get rid of this too. Have to do a little cleanup here,
I don't know if I
don't we?
have this stove at the right. I'm not used to this stove. I have
Let's see,
electric
I think you're
stove.
doing all right. I think we got to, yeah, it's going to melt down. Now, what will we put into that? And how
All
much
right.
butter is that? About a half a stick?
Yes, just
Give or take some. You
I'm
cook
not-
like I do. You don't measure anything.
well, you know, my dad always said a good cook does not have to measure everything. She knows what she's doing. And
Ah.
I sort of listen to him, I guess.
Well, he's
but you
probably a
know,
wise man.
you need enough butter to cover the bottom of your pan.
Okay.
And this is onions that I've sliced, and I've doubled this recipe too, but for a single recipe which serves 4 people, you just use a medium-sized onion, and I cut it all up.
Chopped it pretty fine there too, haven't you?
Yes.
That's good. You know, you have 2 of the best things that smell the best to me. The apples cooking and fried onions. I don't know what else could you want. I mean, that's, you know, I've said this before, but someone said, you know, if we have a bunch of people coming for dinner, and to whet their appetite, all you have to do is fry some onions in some butter, and everybody will be drooling. I think they're probably right.
I think so too. And then this is celery.
How much is that now?
And you take 2 stalks of celery and cut it up.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, you can't see through this pot, but I'm gonna cook it until the onions are clear.
Transparent, right. Not brown though, right?
Not brown.
Okay.
I don't
Okay,
know.
that doesn't take too long, does it? We're getting there. I know that Russ likes this, doesn't he?
Well, this recipe is a recipe that I have used for a lot of different groups of people. One time I had, Russell needed to have a luncheon meeting for some ministers. I had 10 ministers, and I thought, well, I'd fix this. And I thought I fixed a lot, and I did fix a lot. I mean,
Sure.
it took me a while to get everything all cut up and organized, and I want to tell you there wasn't a bit left on the plate. And you know how you feel when somebody comes to your house, you think, I don't think I really fixed enough. But he told me later, he said, everybody had plenty, it's just that they liked it, and they kept eating
sure.
and eating and eating.
Well, it's something, and that night that I was there for that, when you had all those people, everybody just kept coming back for more. And she is quite the hostess, let me tell you. When you go to Norma's house, she has the linens, and you may be in different rooms and that because you can't accommodate 28 people all in the same room. But everything is set to the max, and she works diligently, and you're quite a hostess. And I thought to myself, how in the world, how many days did it take you to get all of this prepared? Because that does take a lot of time.
Well, you know,
just chopping vegetables and just, you know, chopping the meat. And
well, one of the things about this recipe is, for those of you that like to entertain, and I do like to entertain, what you do is you can use this for ladies with a salad. You can use this for a meal like Arlene spoke about. And you can also use it if you want to have a Chinese meal. Because
Sure.
you can make it
with rice. Oh, yeah.
because we have, you'll see what we're going to have. All right,
Okay.
now the next thing we have to add is the soup, which is cream and mushroom soup. And it takes 1 can. You don't put water in it, and you don't want golden. You only want
regular.
cream of mushroom soup.
Okay.
And you stir that in. Since I'm doubling, I have 2. And
Okay. You could make this ahead too and just keep it, would it hold like a day in the refrigerator?
oh, I think so.
And then probably longer than that
It
even in
just
the
take
freezer.
long. It just take long. I don't know. I've never frozen it ahead, but You could make it ahead, but
I think you could. It would
but
seem like you could.
you know, I don't think you really need to. You know why? Because the biggest part is getting all these things cut up.
Right.
Stirring
That
it
you could do ahead.
Yes, you could do that ahead.
Okay.
And you put soy sauce in here.
Okay. Notice how she measured that precisely.
It was measured.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, it takes 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
And I don't put a lot of salt in this because soy sauce
Has salt.
has
doesn't it?
salt, and you don't
Yeah.
want it too salty.
Okay.
And we're going to end up with nuts on the top, and they also
They have
have salt.
Smells
Now,
good.
this is
Chicken broth?
it's chicken broth.
Okay.
And if you've cooked a turkey and you have some broth, you could save some. But if you don't, and if you don't have any chicken broth, you can use a bouillon cube. Use 1 bouillon cube to 1/2 cup of water.
Ah, okay. But you could use the canned chicken broth, couldn't you?
Yes, you could, whatever
Okay.
you want to do. And
Okay.
even if you're using turkey, you can still use chicken broth, which is what I'm doing today because I cooked this turkey about a week ago, and I used it all up in gravy. So,
Ah, okay.
I'm just trying to be as
Can we
helpful
see
as
this?
I can.
Let's turn this pot up. Lift the pot up so everybody can get a look. Can we get a close up of that? See how nice and boy, it's such a rich looking gravy. It looks wonderful. And you just added mushrooms to it. Mm-hmm. And what else are we going to add now?
And comes the turkey.
And how much turkey do you?
Well, my recipe says add 2 cups.
Okay.
But I put on the recipe, if you order this recipe, you'll find out that I usually add more than
A
that.
little bit more. Yeah, I did too when I made it that time.
But-
Do you know, I have to tell you this because I had some wonderful neighbors that lived next door to me in McKeesport, and the neighbor, she passed away, and her family, you know, they had the funeral, and I went to help with the funeral. And so I made this, and I took it.
You mean they had a dinner at the church or at the home?
No, they had it at the home.
I see.
And I made this, and that family absolutely went wild for this meal. They just, I mean, that's all they talked about. In fact, when we first started with At Home, one night, one of the members of, I think I had mentioned, why don't we, you know, if there's something you'd like to see, let us know. They called here and said, how about that turkey casserole? So this is for the Baker family. I'm finally getting you here to make it for us. And I'm glad that they can see how it's done because they loved it. Just loved it. It is very tasty.
One time, Bob Slosser, you know, he's on the board at CBN. He came to our house for dinner, and I thought, oh, what can I have? And I had some turkey that I could use. And so I fixed this, and he said, oh my goodness, I really like it. So I know that ladies are looking for something that men like, but ladies like it too.
Sure.
So it's kind of a
I
hearty
could even see a
casserole.
little patty shell of some kind that you wanted to do. All right, now what do we do?
Well, now we're going to just, what you want to do is you want to have this, I should tell you, Arlene and I have been talking, and while we've been talking, this turkey is getting hot, and now it's starting to boil, and that's when you want to put it in your casserole.
Okay. About how many do you think this would serve? Here.
Well,
Hard to judge.
it's hard to judge. The recipe that I've given you, in case anybody orders, is for 4 people.
Okay.
But, you know, it depends if they like it.
Right. If you have big eaters, you know, look out.
Yes, well, they'll be able to see when we get it in the bowl, and I trust
Can
this
I
bowl
hold
is going to
this?
hold it. This
Can I
is
hold
a
this
little
and
hot.
you scoop it out? We'll do it that way? Oh, okay. There we go. Make sure you get it all. I always tell the ladies, get it all out of there.
That's why I'm so thankful for spatulas.
Uh-huh.
If it weren't for spatulas, we'd waste a lot of food.
We
You
sure
know
would.
that?
I have one here, too. Boy, it looks... You could almost eat it just like that, you know.
Well, you
'Cause it smells
really, you
so
really
good.
could, but it looks prettier when we get
We did it,
finished.
yeah.
And after all, you know, I was taught in school that when you cook something, it needs to look pretty, you know, as well as...
Yes, because I think presentation is a big part of the meal.
Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some noodles.
Okay.
Now this is if you wanted to make a Chinese meal, if you want to fix sweet and sour pork and a few Chinese things, you could add this. One New Year's Eve I had this when I had a Chinese meal, and
wonderful.
Usually, if you make just one recipe, you get a smaller can of noodles than this. But you know, it's
makes it good, doesn't it?
This is
Now you don't cover that when you bake it, do you?
no.
Don't cover
Now here's what else.
it. Cashews. My goodness.
It takes a half a cup for one recipe. I have a cup measured out here. My hands are clean.
And that's it, isn't it?
That's it.
And let's put it in the oven.
Okay.
Take a look and see how, oh, that's getting browned already, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You smell that as apple?
It smells wonderful.
Well,
Wonderful.
now I guess the next thing we have to do is just wait.
Well, and how long would that bake?
Well, it should be in the oven just about 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
You see, it's already hot. And really, everything is cooked. The noodles are cooked. The nuts are cooked.
Right.
And everything in there is cooked. And you just want to let it get nice and brown and the noodles a little crispy.
Does that cook up over that?
It might bubble just a little bit.
Okay.
But see, what is underneath is a little runny, so you need the crispness of the noodles. And
now, what else would you serve with that? You're having the turkey casserole. You said depending on who you were having to dinner. But would you serve a vegetable or a salad?
yes, I would probably serve green beans.
Okay.
Because I like green beans.
Green beans,
and
yeah.
most people, if they're on a diet or most people like green beans.
Sure.
You know, I was taught in home economics when I was in high school. There's certain vegetables, when you have company, you don't serve them because some people don't like this one or like that one, but most people like green beans, and it's a favorite in our family.
Now, we're going to show them at the end of the program, but we didn't think we'd have time to prepare them. Norma, tell me how you make the green beans. And this will be included with the recipes when you write to us, but just tell us how you do those green beans.
Well, in the summertime, it's nice if you can get fresh green beans, or in the wintertime too, but most of the time, ladies, I'm in a hurry. And so I always have on my shelf, I have canned green beans, just the cut green beans. And so what I do is, according to how many people I have, I get a pot and like this, and I put it on the stove, and I pour the green beans and the water and everything.
The juice that's in the can, just put it right in there.
I just throw the whole thing in there.
Okay.
And in Virginia, my mother used to fix it a special way. And I can't do that because we don't have the ingredients here. So what I do is I always save, like if I have bacon and eggs for breakfast, I save that
bacon grease.
Yes, because I use that for different things. And it's probably not the best thing for you health-wise, but
occasionally though,
it doesn't take a lot of it. So anyway, what I do is I put the green beans on, and I just go to my little jar, and I just take some of that. Yes, there's a lot of flavor in bacon, and if you don't have it, if you don't keep it, then all you have to do is just fry some bacon.
And would you put the bacon in with the beans
too? Put in there,
too?
and you cook the beans dry. And it's best not to cook them at a high temperature. Just let them simmer, and they smell great in the house too.
I can imagine. Well, listen, if you want the recipes that you've seen today, here's how you can get them, and this is a brand new way, so please pay special attention. Here we go. Get your pencil and paper ready.
Just go to ctvn.org/athome to get all the recipes from today's show for free. That's right, no subscriptions. They're available online at no cost, and more are being added each day. So join us at ctvn.org/athome to get today's recipes now.
Well, not only is it special because Norma's here with us today, but the president has arrived because it's time to eat. Russ, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you, Arlene, for inviting me to your home.
Well, you're more than welcome. Your wife was a whirl in the kitchen today, and she prepared everything. I'd like us to take a look at this. This is the finished product. Here is the wonderful turkey casserole with the fresh, yummy cashews on top, and her delicious, what is it, Norma?
Deep dish apple pudding.
Deep dish apple pudding. Look at that crust on top. I wondered how that was going to work out. And there's the green beans that she told you how to prepare. You have to write for these recipes. I know that you're going to enjoy
I
them.
like Norma's green beans.
Do you?
I really do. It's such a disappointment to go in a restaurant sometimes and eat their green beans after having Norma's.
Norma, sure. Well, Norma, would you please do us the honors and serve?
Well, one thing I want to say before I do that, and that is our table's a little small. If we had a little more room, we'd have a nice fresh salad. So you can create that yourself.
Okay. Now, Russ, this is one of your favorites too, I understand,
It is,
isn't
that's right. The turkey casserole. I've been waiting for this dinner.
Are you hungry?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Well, we'll let you eat first because it's important to keep the men happy, right, Norma?
Should I give him some green beans?
Oh, sure. Sorry. This it's very easy, and you can prepare it ahead of time, and it doesn't take long to bake in the oven.
No, and incidentally, both dishes bake at the same temperature, which is 350 degrees.
Okay, you want to get some? Russ, I'd like you to lead us in prayer.
All right, why don't
Norma?
we pray now?
Okay.
Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for the invitation to Arlene's home. We thank you for this food. Thank you that you bless all things so wonderfully for us. You provide for our physical needs. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Fresh produce provided by Jordan Banana, wholesalers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Dravosburg, PA. Cookware provided by Woolies. Your favorite gourmet deserves the best for less at Woolly Balcony Cookware. Groceries provided by Foodland, where the answer is always yes. Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.